I'm on day 8 of my semen retention journey, and a huge concept that I really want to go ahead and talk about is perceptions on women and being able to go ahead and view a woman in a proper way because I have tons of conditioning in believing that women are 304s, women are for the streets, right? We call women bitches, hoes, all these certain type of things. And throughout my experience in my life, I am a 21-year-old virgin, never kissed a girl before, never had a girlfriend before in my life, and I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and tell you pickup lines, how to go ahead and talk to a girl, what to go ahead and say, what to go ahead and build for in a relationship. But I have experiences in really viewing women in a negative light, being shy to talk to women, and not having the best conversational skills with girls. And really, a huge thing is we really view women in a negative light. I am someone who went down the self improvement path, the black pill path, you could say incel path, and viewing women as pretty much property. And that is something that I have pretty much grown up in my environment. I've grown up in a hood environment and street culture, street gang violence, and all that type of stuff right there. And the rap music that comes out my area, out my part of my city, really reflects girls just being a piece of material property. And I have been through a lot of talking stages in my life. I've been through a couple talking stages in my life. And I work with women in my work environment. I go to school with women in my work environment. And I have constantly been around tons of other men who've had negative experiences with girls. And them reflecting back out into their life negative experiences with these girls, right? For me, for example, right? It was 4th of July, busy day at my job. I work at a retail spot, a grocery store, so it gets really packed. And it was a really busy day, and I'm on my lunch break listening to music in my ears. And this girl who used to work there at that store at my location, I didn't get a chance to meet her because she wasn't working. She quit or she got fired. I don't know what happened to her. When I got employed over there, and she knows the layout of the store. She knows some of the people in the store, and she is going ahead and getting some stuff in a Starbucks in our store. And she comes over to me and says that um, her friend thinks she is cute. And to be honest, I never got a chance to fully see her friend, and I accepted her her for getting my Instagram. I was just being nice, right? And I got to talking to her for a little bit, got into a talking stage with her for a little bit, and there was a lot of red flags I did notice about her, right? She was one of those gym girls who posted gym pictures for attention. She went in there with crazy type of gym wear, obviously trying to go ahead and get attention. Me messaging her while she worked out, and she was pretty honest about her goals of working out and getting a bigger butt and doing those certain type of things. Like she was straightforward with those things, and she'll post videos about like cars and stuff, like cars she wants and stuff like that. And I pretty much ignored all the red flags, right? And we were supposed to go on a date, and she was dealing with some type of sickness and stuff like that. Um, just whatever it is, right? If you don't know if she was actually sick or not, who knows, right? And we pretty much got the messaging back and forth. That date didn't end up happening, and we got to a point where no, what happened is during our messaging or our date is that we set up a date. I stopped messaging her, and I was gonna go ahead and message her more when we got onto the date because I'm not that type of dude to go ahead and talk about what I like, do all these certain type of talking through messages. I like to do more of my talking in person on the dating and actually talking with the person and actually getting to know the person more in person than doing all this pointless text messaging on Instagram. And she thought I left her on scene, and I messaged her saying what it was the plans for the day, and she said she was sick, dealing with illness. We're gonna go on a gym date because we're both into the gym and stuff like that. We ended up trying to set up again. She's dealing with sickness and going back and forth, messaging and stuff like that. And she works at a gym right down the street from where I work at. 7 down the street. It's in the same as like a shopping center complex. And um, I unintentionally ignored her. I She said she came into the store a couple of times with gym wear and stuff like that. I mean, she was in there wearing gym wear, and she came in there a couple of times with her friend or whoever she was in there with. And to be honest, I didn't notice her. I wasn't paying attention to her, and um, yeah, and that's a common thing in the red pill scene. Like go ahead and know a girl and do those certain type of things, like all the dating advice, modern dating coaches, which is that's so in 2020, 2021, 2022, and a whole different way of thinking right now in terms of my life. But that was a thing that I was doing where I was ignoring her unintentionally. I was doing that by mistake. If I would have saw her, I would have said something to her. But yeah, I was ignoring her unintentionally, and which caused her to go ahead and message me more. But I ended up getting left on delivered. I mean, I left on scene a couple of times, and I remember during this time, it was in the summer. Me and my family went out to a fair one time, and I was just constantly just thinking about her. She left me on delivered or scene one of the two, and I was constantly thinking about her. I was thinking that she was the only one in my girl, the only one, or the only girl in my life. That she was finally the one, right? That certain type of thinking that we all kind of get to thinking to a little bit, and we got to a point where we got back to messaging a little bit more, and eventually she blocked me out of nowhere. And later to find out, um, she was pretty much getting at every single dude she can, and she was getting with a dude, with the security at my place, right? She got with the security dude, getting pretty much everyone at the gym location she worked at. She's pretty much getting at everyone, right? Smashing dudes, hooking up with dudes, and was not a great girl to begin with. I was ignoring her red flags and things like that. And now I'm getting to the point where, or we're getting to the point now, where you think that girl is for the streets, right? You think she's for the streets, she's unemotional, she can't control her emotions. She is a hoe, she's a bitch, whatever you want to go ahead and say about her, you view her in this negative light. And to really get a chance to go ahead and just understand this more, me trying to explain this more, is that I have a couple of girls that work at my job, a couple girl co-workers who kind of fall under the same exact category, right? Smoking, vaping, drinking, getting random tattoos, bro, piercings and all that type of stuff, right? Which for a mating partner, I don't view that as something that I want. I don't want a girl who vapes, right? I don't want a girl who is drinking uncontrollably. Of course, I'm not gonna find a super. I mean, I can't find a girl who doesn't drink, smoke, and do all certain type of things. But a little bit of drinking here and there is okay, right? Something you could go ahead and build with, and maybe she sees you me not drinking, she probably end up not drinking herself. But vaping, that's something that's nasty right there, bro. Um, getting random tattoos, random piercings, this stuff I just don't find attractive. And you will see a girl in that sense of, in that lens, and ignore her, not talk to her, block her, which is something that's common in this retention community, to go ahead and block and talk negatively on this girl. But if you're talking negatively on this girl, that is reflecting back onto yourself. There's amazing qualities within some of these 304s, these girls who call for the streets, that we completely ignore, but it ends up going so bad because we try to have intimate relationships with them, right? This girl at my job tried to go ahead and get at me, and she was a certain type of girl too. The girl I'm pretty much talking about: tattoos, vaping, random piercings, and drinking, stuff like that. Like, I could go ahead and have normal conversations with this girl, and I wish I'm able to go ahead and have normal conversations, talk about, be playful, and do these certain type of things, and not really care about those things. But it gets bad when you try to go ahead and maybe you go ahead and get her Instagram, you go ahead and get their number, and those certain type of things go bad. And in that sense, you really can't have a kind of relationship with a girl if you're taking it to that point where you're messaging her, you got her Instagram, you're doing all those certain type of back and forth things. That's the problem where we get with having um, trying to have mutual friend, we call them friendships with these girls, right? And that is not the way to go ahead and do it. And that's the way in today's day and age how it is, right? We have phones, we have social media, we have access to all these certain type of things and communication ways, and which pretty much ruin that dynamic and being able to go ahead and have a healthy, normal relationship with a girl, even though she might not be a girl who meets your mating requirements, so a girl who you want to build intimacy with. And since we think so lustfully, we end up throwing ourselves into these terrible outcomes, these terrible relationships, getting into these girls who we don't actually want as a mating partner or as a girl who we want to build a relationship with, and we end up making poor decisions. And I see that constantly with a amount of dudes who I know personally as friends, and for myself as well, is you throw yourself in relationships with these people that you're thinking more in a sense of lustful attention, validation, and those certain type of attributes, and that you throw yourself in a relationship with these girls and they don't have good qualities, right? They don't have qualities in that you particularly want in a relationship. Maybe they're cheating on their guy. Maybe they're not committed. They're not able to commit. Maybe they are um, not on a same vibration as you, and maybe not on the same sense of spiritually as you, right? Maybe they don't understand how consciousness works, how life kind of works in the sense of that, and it's chasing material things and chasing all those certain type of validation that a lot of us tend to go ahead and chase nowadays, right? And get stuck in that loop of chasing material validation, which a lot of girls do, man. Like all these certain type of, and you trying to go ahead and haul at these gym girls, right? And you hauling at these gym girls, you trying to go ahead and get their numbers and stuff like that, and talking to them, and you really realize that they're a hoe, right? Maybe they're a 304, and they're not the person that you want for a relationship quality. And what I'm pretty much getting at is that there's gonna be tons of girls who have those certain type of qualities. There's gonna be tons of women who have those qualities, and I'm really struggling too. I'm really working on this. I'm trying to talk about this and trying to go ahead and really understand this, because so much problems are in today's modern day ways of just perceiving and viewing another gender. The same for women, the same for men. And we view these women as negative things in our lives, that there are a problem in our life, that there are the problem in our life. And it becomes a problem when you put them in an intimacy sense of alignment with them. right? You get their number, you get their Instagram, you start talking to them, like text messaging them and stuff like that. And to a point where it doesn't need to go to that point. You don't need to go ahead and get their Instagram. You don't need to go ahead and get their number. And that's what I pretty much do great in my workspace. And I don't have all the girls' Instagrams at my job. I don't have all the girls' numbers at my job. I don't do that, bro. And that makes me being able to go ahead and build healthy relationships with women is being able to have that. And especially with my classes, my college classes too. Like, yeah, we're all connected through our Discord, and yeah, we do have text messages, group chats, but I don't have their individual number. I'm not messaging them back and forth. Yes, I have a couple girls' numbers from my classroom in that we are trying to go ahead and pass the class together, right? We send each other the homework questions, we ask questions related to classwork. And that's a healthy way to build a relationship with women. And that's where we make the huge mistake in that we get their number and we start messaging them about random certain type of things, man. Things that you don't really need to talk about through text messaging and things like that, social media and like that. That's what really ruins a perception of how we view women and getting numbers of these girls, right? And in a sense of cold approaching, right? Cold approaching is something that we do sometimes. We don't really have a gist of the girl, and going through this path of doing retention, this spiritual journey, you notice the red flags, right? And when you notice the red flags, you need to honestly cut off the girl. You can't don't view her as a hoe. Don't view her as something that is negative in your life. Because we will all do that, right? We all view this girl as something negative in her life. Even when she's showing tons of red flags. No. She has great qualities within her. She has great feminine qualities within her. And for example, the girl I've been talking about, they've been smoking, um, drinking, piercings, and random tattoos that don't have any meaning to them. Like, that girl still has amazing qualities. She has amazing personality. She has great personality qualities, right? That are there within her, present within her, but we put that mask in front of her that she's this negative girl, she's unloyal, she is low quality, she doesn't need to be talked to, she needs to be adored, she needs to be seen as less than, she needs to be seen as a material rather than an actual individual. Because us as men, we don't have this problem with men. Wow, that's a big plane right there. I don't know if you see that. Hey, that's a big play right there. Sheesh. I rarely see planes where I'm at over here. But we will view girls in that light, and only view girls in that light, and that completely ruins our relationship with these girls. And we don't do this for men, right? Men have a lot of men have fucked up things going on within them, fucked up lives, right? Broken lives, all these qualities, right? All these things that we talk about, we pinpoint on girls. The reason we pinpoint these on girls is because we view them as mating partners, and we view them in a lustful way. And since we view them in that way, those negative qualities get highlighted more within girls, right? But we need the same way we view men is the same way you need to go ahead and view girls in the sense of that. But with a sense of girls, getting their Instagram and getting their number and going more into that could lead into a potential intimacy path, not an intimacy path, but a sense of, um, I guess not romantic, but a sense of path of a relationship a little bit, and that could go into a negative point of view, and having these random quote unquote girlfriends that you have within your life. That is not the way to go ahead and do it. And that gets totally ruined because we get their Instagram, we get their number, we start messaging them, and that totally ruins our relationship with girls in general, because it doesn't need to go to that point, and that ruins the beauty of some of the beauty qualities that are in these girls, right? Like, I'm not gonna go ahead and get a Instagram or a number from a girl who I know does not meet my mating, who I don't want to mate with, right? That's not a problem. That's not an issue, and that shouldn't be an issue that we view these women as. Okay, they don't meet our mating qualities. Okay, they don't meet our relationship qualities. Doesn't mean we need to go ahead and treat them like a piece of shit. And that is something that we all struggle as men with, right? We try to hook up with girls. We try to accumulate as many girls as we can, because that's a sense of power, it's a sense of dominance. And we go in these negative paths, man. And we tend to go ahead and turn away from women. We go ahead and blame women for our problems, blame women for our issues, blame women for why our life sucks. Think that all women are garbage. And that's just all of a reflection of within us internally. And if you view these women in a negative way, it's a internal sense of yourself. It's going to reflect back onto yourself, right? And you need to view these women in positive lights. Even the girls that have tons of red flags, there's still a positive, beautiful quality about them. And you need to go ahead and really realize that within them without trying to go ahead and lead into an intimacy relationship path with them. And that's the hardest thing to go ahead and get across, is that you need to highlight their beautiful personality qualities that they have within themselves, right? Like the girl I've been talking about the whole entire time, like she's a great girl to joke around with. She's a great girl to mess around and make jokes with and stuff like that. But is it the girl that you go ahead and flirt with, right? Even though she might throw flirting signs at you, you need to be adjusted, or you need to know yourself and have that discipline not to go ahead and pursue with that, right? Even though you might get flirting vibes from her, even though you might get these intimacy vibes from her, you need to push off of that, because you're going onto this retention path. You're going onto this path of discipline, right? This path of higher consciousness is connecting with one and connecting with all. God is with God is everything, right? And you need to understand that that person that you're talking to is also a part of God, right? And you need to understand that that girl has beautiful qualities within her, right? Beautiful personality qualities that she has. It doesn't mean she's a mating partner, and even though it means that she's not a mating partner, it doesn't mean you have to go ahead and disrespect her. It doesn't mean you have to go ahead and ignore her, right? And that's the thing that we always do as guys. We treat women bad because we don't want to go ahead and smash them. We don't want to go ahead and be with them. And those girls who we don't view that in that light, we end up having beautiful conversations with, terrific relationships with, and love to go ahead and have conversations with them. But us as a society, the issues that we make is that we take things into more of a deeper path and try to go ahead and think lustfully, right? Think about hooking up, thinking about potentially having a relationship with this person. No, bro, no, 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 no. And that's the issue that we always tend to go ahead and make. No, I'm not perfect at this, man. I'm a 21-year-old virgin. I'm a young dude in this life. I have so much more experience to go ahead and get. But I'm not viewing women negatively no more, bro. I'm not viewing women as a bad thing, as a devil. People, dudes call them demons, devils, right? Energy drainers. And even though we think symbolically between a man and a woman, right? A man has his rocket, and a woman has her pussy, right? And that's symbolically, if you view that, a woman takes in energy and a man gives energy, right? And we tend to go ahead and view women as energy drainers. They drain our energy, drain our money, and drain our value and our worth. The problem is We're choosing to have intimacy relationships with these girls out of a lustful urge, out of a lonely urge, and out of an urge of not knowing ourselves. And once you kind of get a chance to understand this, I'm not the best at explaining this. Once you get a chance to understand this, life becomes way much more simpler in navigating women and stuff like that. You don't pick bad women because you don't pursue a intimacy relationship with these women, right? And the best thing to have a healthy relationship with a girl, especially at a workplace, especially at a classroom place, is to not go ahead and message back and forth with these girls, right? In a sense of you trying to go ahead and subconsciously not like not you might say to yourself, no, I'm not trying to have a relationship with this girl, I'm not trying to do this with this girl, but in reality you're trying to see where this goes at. And you're trying to see what can I get out of this relationship with this girl, right? And if you're searching for validation, attention, whatever it is out of this girl, that's just not the way to go ahead and do it. And build a healthy relationship with girls, especially in classrooms, workspaces, is to honestly not have their contact information, to not have their number, to not have their Instagram, because that's how you build a healthy relationship with a girl in a sense, right? And even though if you do get their Instagram, you do get their number of a friendly type of way, don't take the text messaging deeply. And that is a issue that we we take the text messaging way much more deeply than what it needs to be. We're not keeping it shallow. We're not keeping it of a joke of fun vibe, being able to talk about whatever it is, right, in a fun way. And that just takes so much beauty out of this life, man. Makes women get viewed in a negative light. Women are beautiful, man. Women are a great thing to have in this life. It's a great thing as a man to go ahead and approach a girl, to go ahead and make a girl feel good about herself, right? We're approaching the girl, we want to go ahead and get her. We're making the girl feel good about herself, and as men, we're building confidence because we're able to go ahead and talk to a girl that we like. And there's just so much negative outlook on this, man. But yeah, it's me yapping for a little bit. Day 8 on this retention, day 8 or day 9 on this journey. Learning a lot, kind of, but developing as well. Peace.